Several psychological, neurological, and genetic conditions can affect the brain circuits involved in generous and selfish behaviors. These conditions can impact the functioning of key regions like the ventral striatum, lateral prefrontal cortex, amygdala, and temporo-parietal junction (TPJ). Here are some relevant disorders. 1. Psychopathy. Individuals with psychopathic traits often show reduced activity in the ventral striatum and amygdala when observing others in distress. This may contribute to their lack of empathy and increased tendency towards selfish or brutal behaviors. 2. Autism spectrum disorders. ASD. People with ASD often have difficulties with social cognition and empathy, which may be related to atypical functioning of the TPJ and other regions involved in mentalizing. This can affect their ability to understand others' perspectives and engage in prosocial behaviors. 3. Depression. Depression can impact the reward system, including the ventral striatum, potentially reducing the pleasure derived from generous acts. However, engaging in generous behaviors may help alleviate depressive symptoms by shifting focus away from oneself. 4. Frontotemporal dementia. FTD. This neurodegenerative disorder affects the frontal and temporal lobes, including regions involved in social cognition and decision-making. Patients with FTD often show changes in social behavior, including reduced empathy and increased selfishness. 5. Williams syndrome. This genetic disorder is characterized by hypersociability and increased empathy. Individuals with Williams syndrome often show heightened activity in the amygdala and other emotion processing regions when viewing facial expressions, which may contribute to their unusually high levels of prosocial behavior. 6. Narcissistic personality disorder. People with this condition often display reduced empathy and increased self-focus, which may be related to alterations in the functioning of brain regions involved in social cognition and reward processing. 7. Huntington's disease. This genetic disorder affects the striatum and other brain regions, potentially impacting reward processing and decision-making related to generous behaviors. 8. Parkinson's disease. The dopamine deficiency in Parkinson's can affect the reward system, potentially altering the experience of pleasure from generous acts. Some Parkinson's patients on dopamine agonists have been reported to develop impulsive behaviors, which could impact decision-making related to generosity. 9. Borderline personality disorder. This condition is associated with difficulties in emotion regulation and interpersonal relationships, which may involve alterations in the functioning of the amygdala and prefrontal cortex. These conditions highlight the complex interplay between various brain regions in shaping our tendencies towards generous or selfish behaviors. It's important to note that the presence of these disorders doesn't necessarily determine an individual's behavior, as environmental factors and personal experiences also play crucial roles in shaping prosocial tendencies.